evening and welcome to Nationwide Today on NTA. I am Elizabeth Omori. Latest report from Nigeria Center for Disease Control confirms 176 new cases of COVID-19 and 5 deaths in Nigeria. Till date, 5,621 cases have been confirmed, 1,472 cases discharged, and 176 deaths recorded in 34 states and the FCT. Lagos has 95, Oyo 31, FCT 11, Niger and Borno 8 each, Jigawa 6, Kaduna 4, Anambra 3, Edo, Rivers, Nasarawa, Bauchi 2 each, Benue 1 and Zamfara 1. No new state has reported a new case in the last 24 hours. President Muhammadu Buhari has restated his position that Nigeria will indeed listen to science before traditional or any new medicine being administered to the nation's citizens as cure for coronavirus. The president made this known at an audience meeting with President Umaru Sissoco Embalo of Guinea-Bissau. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, had informed the nation that a consignment of Madagascan coronavirus cure donated to Nigeria and other West African countries had been shipped to Guinea-Bissau. On a one-day private visit to Nigeria, that country's president, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, brought along with him samples of the traditional medicine as shared to African nations by Madagascar. President Muhammadu Buhari said his position on all such herbal or traditional medicinal postulates had remained the same. Nigeria, he said, has institutions, systems, and processes capable of verifying any such formulations. He emphasized that without the required endorsement by such institutions, his administration will not allow any such native postulation against COVID-19 be put to use in the country. As at the time of filing this report, Nigeria had recorded 5,445 confirmed cases of COVID-19, and efforts are being intensified towards flattening the curve and ultimately containing the pandemic. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Governor Aminu Bello Masari of Katsina State directed for the relaxation of the lockdown of the state from Monday 18th to Sunday 24th, 2020. A statement issued by the Secretary to the State Government, Mustafa Mohammed Inwa, says the ban on interstate local government movement is still in force and directs both Katsina and Dara Emirate councils to ensure that district heads celebrate Eid al-Fitr in their domains. Oyo State Governor Sheyi Makinde says 30 staff of the same organization in the Ibadan Southwest local government area have tested positive to coronavirus, while disclosing that 31 people tested positive in the state. In a tweet, the governor said the organization with 30 patients has been shut down and will be decontaminated. The governor also confirmed that contact tracing has already commenced. The remaining one case is from Egbeda local government area, and with that, the total number of confirmed cases in Oyo State is now 107. Nigerians have been called upon to support federal and state government in the fight against coronavirus. The Emir of Dara, Alhaji Umar Farouk Umar, met the call in Katsina after being discharged from hospital. The Emir says government is spending huge amount of money to ensure the safety of health and lives of citizens against the dreaded COVID-19. He reiterated the need for concerted effort worldwide to fight the pandemic. The Emir acknowledged the concern and support of President Muhammadu Buhari, Governor Aminu Masari, and other Nigerians while on admission at the hospital. Now, old age comes with several ailments, which often does not require exposure of the elderly ones to certain environments. In this period of COVID-19, there are high-risk factors which need to be put into consideration in caring for the elderly. Austin Edemodo reports.
Ravaging COVID-19 knows no bound. From children to adults, no one is spared. As cases continue to mount globally, there is growing concern about the health of the elderly ones.
In the elderly, chronic illnesses are more common. For example, hypertension is commoner in the elderly, diabetes is commoner in the elderly, and also terminal illnesses like cancers are commoner in the elderly. chronic kidney diseases, chronic liver diseases, and all that. They are commoner in the elderly. So when they have all of this, their immunity drops. Their ability, the response or the ability of the body to respond to diseases and fight diseases is reduced. And so because of that, you don't want to expose them unduly.
To further protect these elderly persons from being exposed to the deadly virus, certain measures have been adopted by healthcare providers.
Come to the hospital only when necessary. Like some come to visit their grandchildren, delivery and all. I said, no, don't come, just at home. They'll come and meet you at home because you coming out, you are exposing yourself. They can send their younger children, they sort out their cards and we feed their drugs for them so they don't have to come themselves.
From all indications, the elderly persons are not totally left out in the scheme of things, as been speculated, but equally have access to medical health care when necessary, says the Delta State Contributory Healthcare Scheme.
For the aged, remember that our equity plan covers children under 5, pregnant women, and the vulnerable aged ones. Not every aged person is vulnerable. Some of them are registered. Those that are registered are covered, COVID-19 or no COVID-19.
At this juncture, COVID-19 precautionary measures must be observed in context with the well-being of the elderly persons in the society, as every life is valuable. Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
Joining me live in the studio now to speak more on efforts made so far to protect health workers amidst COVID-19 is the President, Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Francis Fadoyile. It's nice to have you in our studio.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being here.
All right, what is your general assessment of the situation right now on COVID-19?
Well, the general situation is still not too good because many of our staff are still not having the personal protective equipment to use, and that is the minimum that is expected for our staff to be able to effectively discharge their duties at the different health facilities. Again, we have a lot to do with the sheer number of those people who are infected, many of them that needed to be in isolation ward. We have very few bed spaces, and the number we are having are gradually becoming too few for the total number of people. So we are having acute shortage of bed spaces. Thirdly, we have problem also with the management of the different hospitals as well as the governments, especially the state governments, for them to give the normal incentive to boost the morale of the health workforce so that they can work more. These are the things that are the situation at present.
All right, relaxing of the lockdown, what does this portend for the health sector? Well, are we going to be having more cases coming, other ailments?
Well, as we have stated 2 weeks ago when the president came with the partial realization of the lockdown, we came out that it was premature. It was premature because the infection was still at the upward slope. We are having more and more infection. And if you look at the trajectory, it is now having about every 3 days, 4 days now that we are having 1,000 extra of new cases. So it shows that with all the efforts that we have put in place, we have not been able to curtail the spread. And the moment we ease a lockdown, and we have not even imbibed the necessary discipline to follow the regulation given, I can tell you it portends danger that we may have more infection going on within the community.
All right, so how safe are health workers?
Yeah, health workers can only be safe if you have provided them with the necessary PPE. As it is, we have complained. It is part of our MOU with the government to ensure that PPE go around all the health outlets. If we do not have those PPE, it is going to be pretty difficult for health workers to be able to effectively discharge their duties to the patients when they come to the hospital. And it has a rippling effect. If the PPEs are not there, we have already in Nigeria, we do not have enough number of health workers generally, and we have 1, 2, 3 health workers being infected. You have to take them out of the circulation for the period in which they will have to be treated, and it will increase the acute shortage that we are talking of. So we have a very big issue in a way that if we do not stop the health workers being infected, we are going to have bigger issues in our hand.
So how can we address this, really?
We can address it because the government needs to do the needful. Before now, the perennial underfunding of health has been the major bane of the situation we have found ourselves. Before now, we don't have any company, any manufacturing company in Nigeria producing any medical consumable or most medical equipment. Now we depend solely on importation. And outside this country, every country is looking for all the PPEs and all the necessary equipment that we needed to protect ourselves. The government will need to quickly look inward, support manufacturing company, so that they can start producing the PPEs that we are talking. Is it the face mask? Is it the hand gloves? Is it the goggle? We thank God for the innovation of Nigerians. Now we are doing some of these goggles. We are putting them on, and I think the government must, as a matter of urgency, bring out that fund so that we can have more produce in Nigeria, that it can go far and wide, and all our health workers will be properly protected.
All right, there are several concerns on vaccines, herbal drugs for the cure of coronavirus. What's your take?
I think this is
subscribe?
I think certainly we must have a cure for coronavirus. Okay. Either we prevent it through vaccination or we have a cure through treatment. But we are having so much excitement with any little information. And in medicine, in science, we don't look at it that way. Because there are so many pathways, so many stages we have to painstakingly pass through before you can say a drug is suitable for human being. We want to plead with Nigeria and other people outside this country. It is not good that because a drug has worked for Mr. A, then it means it will have to work for everybody. We have to do a lot of research, testing, before we can say it is fit for human consumption or for the treatment of whatever disease we want to use. So we have to be careful. And it is this in our rush that we have had cases in which people were doing things that were totally out of tune with normal procedures. Some people bathing with salt water and doing all sorts of things. We have to be careful. As it is, we can get COVID-19 treated well by giving supportive treatment. There are some drugs that some medical experts are given, which are working well, but don't let us rush that we are looking for either a vaccine or a cure when we have not passed through all the necessary processes.
All right, Dr. Francis, thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Stay safe. Thank you.
Keep staying safe as well.
Thank you very much.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. Time now to join Ruth in Lagos for more reports. Nice to see you, Ruth.
Good to see you, Elizabeth. Lagos remains the epicenter of the coronavirus in Nigeria, with new cases of COVID-19 reported on a daily basis. This trend, which has led to several fatalities, is why there are calls in some quarters for another bout of total lockdown in the state. Imole Ayo Tokede, who interacted with some residents on this possibility, reports.
Temperature check and the use of hand sanitizers at the point of entry into the supermarket are in adherence to precautionary rules to ensure safety of customers and staff.
At the point of sale also, while they are cashing out, we make sure the cashiers, after collecting money or anything from them, they all have their hand sanitizers, aside from the glove.
The ambience of these outlets is at variance with the hustle and bustle of these popular food markets. It could as well have been a day in the pre-coronavirus era. Social distancing seems to be the last thing on the minds of the traders and their customers, who transacted business as if the pandemic is imaginary. When reminded of the danger proximity poses to their health, they sounded helpless with excuses to back up the disregard.
Looking at it, it's not even easy to distance ourselves.
With people throwing caution to the wind in public, a complete shutdown may be on the horizon. Can Lagos residents swallow another dose?
If it is virus, tell us and face the virus, how to face it.
A total lockdown is an absolute, it's like 10 steps forward, 21 steps backwards. We just have to continue with the awareness and make sure we enforce the awareness, the self-distancing.
One can feel the fear in the minds of Lagosians over an imminent lockdown. However, the state government may have to pull the trigger in order to save citizens from themselves, as the major option available to reduce the rate of new COVID-19 cases may very well be another total lockdown. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokide, NTA News.
In a bid to curb the coronavirus pandemic in the country, business owners are adopting various measures to stay safe and educate their customers on how to adhere to necessary precautions during business activities. Abolore Ogbara reports.
After government announced the gradual easing of restrictions in Lagos, Henry Boboki, who runs a barbing outlet by the roadside in Lagos, reopened for business under strict measures to mitigate the spread of the virus. He said before the outbreak of COVID-19, he has been practicing hygiene methods to prevent transmission of diseases by sterilizing the equipment he uses before and after barbing his customers.
We are praying that God should bring an end to this pandemic so that people will be turning up, the business sector will be moving anyhow, so that people will enjoy their normal life.
Just like Henry Boboki, there are many other barbers and shop owners whose survival mechanism this COVID-19 era is strict adherence to safety advices by the government and health experts.
When you enter, you barb one person, the remaining person will stay outside. When the one person go in, when the person go outside, another person will enter. That is the only thing we can do to stay safe.
Any customer wants to enter our shop, you wash your hand before you enter our shop, and you supposed to use sanitizer before you enter here. Nose cover is compulsory to use here.
COVID-19 is claiming lives the world over, and with increasing cases in the nation, Henry, a business owner, for instance, has realized that adherence to COVID-19 safety rules is key to preserving his life and keeping business afloat. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
We pause here for a break. Nationwide continues with Elizabeth in Abuja.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case, or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
25th February 2020, Nigeria. It is real. It is a nightmare. It is killing people all over the world. It is COVID-19. Compliance with the various states in Nigeria, the current measures will flatten the curves. Shutting down is not an act of wickedness, but an act to save lives. Stay home, stay safe. Observe social distance. Always put on a face mask while leaving your house. Make sure you are on a tricycle alone. Cars and buses cannot carry more than half their passengers. Always remember to wash your hands. Together, we will defeat COVID-19. This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibilities.
Nigerians, let us take responsibility. Stay healthy, stay safe, and curb the spread of the virus. Take responsibility. The coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us avoid crowd gathering of any kind for any reason. Take responsibility. Avoid traveling from one state to another during these lockdown restrictions. Obey all the rules that are put in place. Take responsibility. Stop spreading fake news and unverified reports about the coronavirus. There is no known cure for COVID-19. Take responsibility. Observe all the measures that can help stop the spread of the virus. Together, we can do this, but only if we take responsibility. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Glad to know you're still there. Still on COVID-19, with much awareness and enlightenment going on about the coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria, many have expressed varying views about its existence in the country. Here is Oyeyemi Ajayi, who sampled the views of the people in Karamajiji area of the FCT.
Now here in Karamajiji, the level of observance is quite low. You could still see bike men carrying more than the approved number, and none of them wearing a face mask. Also, even in the vehicle, which is meant to be 2 at the back and 1 in front.
Exaggeration about the spread of coronavirus. The number that they talk about the coronavirus rate in these countries is not a reality.
Due to the coronavirus today, but I thank God, I don't see the corona, I don't see it for my face. But at the year saying that coronavirus, they care everybody. But I thank God, make anybody we won't come out for us, make you cover or not.
I don't think there's coronavirus in Nigeria. Because if coronavirus in Nigeria, we are too much in this area. There will have be like 4, 5, or 10 people that we have coronavirus in this area. We do not see any cases in this area, so I don't believe.
What is the essence of wearing your nose mask?
Because of that is the new what our government just say. If you don't wear it, the tax force will come here and be embarrassing us, taking us over their station. So we don't like it. That's why we are wearing it.
So it's not you wearing the nose mask is not because of coronavirus, but because of the tax force that will be coming to disturb you.
Yes, because of the tax force.
Just as we were going about our activities in the level of compliance, a team of the FCT task force came in order to enforce the compliance level with some arrests made. And that's it from here at Karamajiji area of the FCT. I am Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Thank you, Oyeyemi. As the gradual easing of the total lockdown continues to impact on socio-economic activities, Abubakar Usman Akwanga was at Wuse area of the Federal Capital Territory on the outlook.
Abuja, the pride of the nation and the city center of Nigeria, is gradually returning to normal with less enforcement of restriction order in major areas, roads and other premises. Earlier on due to lockdown and now partial lockdown as part of measures by the federal government to contain the spread of the novel coronavirus pandemic. With less enforcement of restriction order in the nation's city center, activities still remain on the average. Barely 2 weeks after the relaxation of lockdown, the city center came relatively alive with human and commercial activities. But as each day passes by within the period of partial lockdown, Nigerians say the existing guidelines should be sustained.
People are not observing most of the rules laid down, such as social distancing, wearing of face masks, provision of hand sanitizers. And then you look at public transportation, for instance, you see most of the public transportation vehicles fully packed with passengers.
The lockdown is necessary because the coronavirus is increasing day by day. So according to statistics, what we are hearing on radio, and right now in Nigeria we are up to more than 5,000. And if you look at it, 5,000 is not a small number. It is becoming clearer that with strict adherence to guidelines regulating the partial lockdown or gradual ease of economic and human activities in the city center, Nigeria will soon overcome the dreaded coronavirus in no distance time. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Thank you for your effort, Abubakar. And I have in the studio Mr. Iharu Atta, Chairman, Ministerial Task Force Team on COVID-19 Restrictions in the FCT, to speak on adherence and compliance. It's nice to have you in our studio.
A very wonderful time being in NTA.
All right. So what will be your assessment on the ease of lockdown in the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think my assessment is, from my own point of view, in Abuja is good. Okay. The first day was really very chaotic, was very tough. We know that having been kept for about a month, we expected that so much. We had intense pressure on the banks. Some banks did not help us. Some banks did not actually key into the vision of Mr. President. They opened just 1 or 2 branches for that day, so we saw crowd everywhere. And the NTA went round and actually got that report done. Subsequently, we've been seeing the easing up, we've been seeing the compliance. The first market that we got was really very hectic for us. We had to stretch for to enforce compliance here. But since then, by this time, you will observe that Abuja is not like other area. The number appears to be dropping by the day when it comes to the number of persons with COVID-19 based on the testing have been conducted by the NCDC. When you observe it largely, particularly in most areas here, even if we have community settlement like what you saw in that report there, persons, even the ones who largely may not be so convinced, but they are still adhering. Okay. Now, most residents in the FCT are concerned about public transporters. Correct. Now, some still carry 2 other back seats. Three is an offense, 4 is an offense. I have seen more than 4. So what happened? Yeah, we did. If you go to the Igu Square now, you see people crying. Many of them are crying. Yeah, we got so many of them. Particularly with due apology, I'll say this again here. From the first day we came in, the first day of relaxation, when transporters came out, the ones we got carrying 4 at the back and 2 at the front, we are uniformed men. I'm sorry to say that we are uniformed personnel. The ones we got subsequently, we are largely uniformed men. Yeah, we got some civilians, so commercial taxi drivers carrying 3 at the back, which we consider also a contravention because we asked for 2 at the back, 1 at the front, in line with social distancing principle, and also the fact that you don't put air condition on when you have more than 1 passenger who are not of the same community together. Yeah. And that's what we are doing here. And so far, when you go to the Eagle Square, you see them in large numbers here begging. Many have been convicted now. Even before I left the Eagle Square to this particular point where the courts are sitting, many have been convicted at Area 1, at Area 1 and about, AY and about, Beggar and about. There are so many of them. What about face masks? How many of them have been arrested for not using their face masks? Many of them have been, and the judges, the magistrates are giving the conviction, but I have a reservation as an enforcement personnel on issues of face masks. Right. Because the Sunday before today, when we went out, I had to tell all the enforcers to leave that day out of arrest. Let's spend the whole Sunday on advocacy, because I saw something that really shocked me at Gudu district, where persons were all rushing to put face masks on. And when we came, they were not putting it on. They just saw us and start to be dragging this thing. And I discovered that they are not seeing it as if it's a seat belt that you put whenever you see road safety. I told them, no, I called them closer. And we went around that day from morning till evening trying to conscientize. We tell them, look, the federal government is not out to hurt you or to torment you, but to keep all of us healthy. When you put this thing on, what you inhale is filtered. If it's filtered here, and should you be a carrier and you want to cough out, it remains within the enclave. You don't give it to the next person here. That's our own belief, although some health experts are divided on this matter. So we went around talking to them, but now we've been carrying them to, some of them who don't have it, we take them to the mobile court, and the judges, first offenders, are giving them some fine, 500 naira, some 1,000 naira, and some lesser. We've seen very nice ladies who actually just strove the hedger and cover the nose, like the Tuaregs. We've seen some persons who also had to tear their socks and do the covering and all of that here. But we're thinking all, the members that people in Abuja are largely complying.
Okay, now before you go, what is the level of awareness on the dangers of not adhering to the rules?
So I think the awareness is high, but sadly, unlike what we see in other countries in the West, we don't see the apart from may so rest in peace, the former chief of staff, we have never seen largely any COVID-19 patients. Maybe physically or whatever, we hardly see them here. So I think most persons are still seeing that, thinking that it's not real, particularly in rural communities like the one you saw at Karamajiji here. But I think largely the awareness is high. The mobile courts are sitting very much, and so far we have gotten we have crossed 10,000 convictions. 10,000 persons have so far, more than 10,000 have been convicted. The number is still increasing now. I think persons are largely aware. If you come into NTA, the beauty, you have to wash your hand more than 3-4 places.
Yes.
Then when I got in here, they say, look, you can't go on air. You need to cover yourself as a mask. One, whatever you bring here, it keeps you safe. Number two, it also conscientizes the people who are out there on the need for mask wearing. Very beautiful here. The awareness is really very high, and my prayer and hope is that we come to all of this without going back to lockdown and return the city fully, where we can have the whole NTA staff coming in full blast and we enjoy broadcasting.
All right, Mr. Arthur, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The House of Representatives says the decision of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja concerning a suit on the infectious disease bill was misinterpreted to mislead the media. In a statement, Chairman, House Committee on Media and Publicity, Representative Benjamin Kalu notes that though the applicant in the case sought an order for the suspension of consideration of the Infectious Diseases Control Bill by the House, the court at no point in the interim order granted that relief. The court instead, in its wisdom and interest of justice, ordered respondents in the case to appear before it on the 20th of May 2020 and enter defense before making a long-term decision on the case. The statement adds that the wrong report on the interim order was unfortunate, stressing that the act of legislation is a constitutional responsibility which should not be subjected to flimsy reportage. Now, the Emir of Bauchi and Chairman of the State COVID-19 Palliative Committee, Alhaji Rwanu Suleimanu Adamu, has appealed for more patience as the committee is intensifying efforts to ensure fairness in distribution of palliatives. Haruna Adamu reports.
We as the state government have come up with a robust template that will further strengthen our partial lockdown. These measures include social distancing in the holy month of Ramadan, specifically in relation to the Ramadan Tafsir, Taraweeh and Tahajjud and Itikaf, market outing, commercial motorcycle users operation, Keke Nape, and the Almajiri system.
No doubt certain measures taken by the Bauchi state government may occasion some hardships on the less privileged populace, although Bauchi state declared total lockdown on only 3 local government areas and partial lockdown on the remaining 17. Impacts of the measure could not be said to be less felt as residents could not go for their daily business as usual. As the State COVID-19 Palliative Committee rounds off preparation to commence distribution of food items to residents, Chairman of the committee and Emir of Bauchi, Alhaji Rwanu Suleimanu Adamu, calls for patience and assures of transparency.
I believe, inshallah, any moment we start moving the material, palliative material to the affected locals, that's Katagun, Zaki, and Giadi. So I'm calling to the well-meaningful, the good people of Bauchi State to cooperate with us. Inshallah, this will do it in an orderly manner.
Distribution to residents possibly commences latest on Monday, the 18th May 2020. In Bauchi, Adam Haruna Adams, NTA News.
The Nasarawa State government has conveyed its profound appreciation to the Federal Road Safety Corps for deploying additional 2 life support ambulances with complete team of personnel to the state, describing the gesture as common, indelible and unprecedented in the fight against coronavirus pandemic. A statement by the Corps Public Education Officer, BC Kazim, indicates that the life support ambulances were handed over on Friday, 15th of May 2020 in Lafayette, the state capital. The Commissioner for Health, Nasarawa State, Hamid Yahya, lauded the Corps' continuous show of commitment and support towards the fight against the global health challenge through deployment of personnel to enforce orders, as well as provision of adequate ambulance services for the evacuation of identified corona patients. The FRSC boss, Oyemi, assured that the Corps will continue to live up to its responsibilities in the ongoing fight against COVID-19. Time now to join Sulaiman in Kaduna for the next set of reports. Hello, Sulaiman.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome to Kaduna. 55 patients treated for COVID-19 have been discharged from the Fanisau Isolation Center in Jigawa State after being subjected to necessary protocols and tested negative from the virus. Awal Muhammad Kazori, however, reports that an order has been issued for the lockdown of Hadija local government area effective midnight this Sunday following reported cases of COVID-19 in the area.
For 3 weeks at the isolation facility located at the outskirts of Dutse, the Jigawa State capital, after being tested positive for the virus. However, the results of their second and third test conducted at Bayero University Kano COVID-19 testing laboratory turned out negative and warrant their discharge from the isolation center. The chairman, Jigawa State Task Force on COVID-19 and Commissioner for Health, Dr. Abba Zakar Umar, maintain that all those who tested positive are being given proper medication and monitored by health experts.
We have actually adopted a protocol, and the protocol that we adopted is we give hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, zinc sulfate, and also aspirin. And for those that are asymptomatic, we give them zinc, multivite, and then aspirin.
A directive has been given for the lockdown of Hadija town, having recorded its index and second COVID-19 cases within the same period to curb community transmission of the virus. The lockdown of Hadija is coming barely 10 days after it was uncovered by a team of experts from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control that the unusual death that struck the area has no connection with COVID-19. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
Putting on the face mask is one of many ways COVID-19 has changed the way people live in recent times. In Kaduna State, this development comes with extra implications, health and legal-wise. Major Madam tells us how.
To restock on food and other essentials. It is a day that must be maximally utilized, for the quarantine law in Kaduna State spares no one, with the governor personally on the front line of implementation. One of the essentials attracting high volume of patronage is the face mask.
This face mask, I feel it very, very important. Why? Because if at least our people, they will be fully and well mobilized and accept the importance of this face mask, it will definitely reduce the mode of transmission of this very coronavirus infection.
It's very nice. It's very good. If you use it, you can protect yourself and also protect others.
It is a matter of brisk business for the tailoring industry, for the bulk dealers and for the roadside retailers, as its value chain stretches beyond business to safeguarding human lives against the infiltration of COVID-19.
The face masks prevent those droplets from coming out, and the aerosol that also comes out from our perspiration, our breathing, and even when you sneeze or when you cough, the face mask serves as a barrier.
Another reason face mask tops the scale of preference of people in Kaduna State is the legal implication of making it a foregone alternative. The costs are mobile. with security operatives around places to ambush violators and hound them for prosecution.
Anybody who is seen outside without his face mask, not wearing face mask, is entitled to pay the sum of 5,000 naira as fine.
Stay safe, stay home. But if you must come out for any reason, put on your face mask. In Kaduna, Maijama Adamu, NTA News.
And with that report, Elizabeth continues with Nationwide in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Sulaiman. President Muhammad Buhari has approved the renewal of the tenure of Mr. Benjamin Akabweze as Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation. Mr. Akabweze was first appointed as a Special Advisor Planning to the President on February 15, 2016, and later redeployed and appointed as DG Budget June 10, 2016, to handle the nagging issues in the Budget Office, as at that time, a statement by the Special Advisor Media to the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Yunus Abdullahi, notes that this appointment would expire June 10, 2020. The statement adds that the Budget Office is currently undergoing several reforms, and Akabweze has a track record of sterling performance, which endeared the President to renew his tenure in order to institutionalize the achievements for sustainable improvement in the Budget Office of the Federation. The level of compliance by commercial motorcyclists in wearing face masks while applying the road is low in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. This is against the compulsory use of face masks as a measure to curb the spread of COVID-19. Simbiat Agbaji, who monitored the situation, now reports.
Since the outbreak of COVID-19 in Nigeria, the government at all levels have put in measures to guard against the spread of the virus. One of such measures is the use of face masks. However, not all commercial motorcyclists in Makurdi adhere to this directive to stem the spread of the virus.
We safeguarding ourselves, putting ourselves in one place, doing this and that, it's of no use, because when you do finish, somebody will come in and give you.
Those who are using the face masks say they are aware of the implications of not abiding by the measures put in place by the government to contain the spread of COVID-19.
As you can see me with the face mask, I know the importance of it, because what the federal government said that we should do, we are abiding by the rule and regulation.
Personally, I feel like to wear it, it's not necessarily I'll be forced before I wear it, but I see that it's helpful.
Even before Benue recorded an index case, our society here, it took people a long time to believe that COVID-19 actually exists. Thank God, so many of them, an appreciable number, has come to terms that it does exist.
As important as the helmet is to a motorcyclist, so is the face mask in the face of COVID-19. In Makurdi, Simbiat Agbaji, NTA News.
Now to security. Willing, able and ready is the battle cry of Nigerian Air Force Special Forces operatives deployed to support the NAF 2022 Quick Response Wing and other operatives in Nasarawa State to put an end to banditry and other security threats. Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State, in his reception speech, attributes this intervention to the quick response of the federal government against banditry in the state sought a few days ago. The Chief of the Air Staff, in a message delivered by the Air Officer Commanding Special Operations Command, Air Vice Marshal Charles Oho, the Special Forces operatives are expected to conduct themselves with decorum while discharging their duties. The NAF Special Forces will operate in Doma, Lafia and other parts of Nasarawa and its environs to ensure safety of lives and property. And Obai is standing by in our Benin studio for more reports on Nationwide.
Renovation work is ongoing, which will now function as the facility as
We apologize for the hitch. We hope to go back to Benin. Moving on, in spite of schools closure in Kano State due to coronavirus pandemic, education activities are still ongoing as students continue with their normal lessons through the radio. Mohammed Rabi Ali reports.
From the question, we have one.
331. Barely 7 weeks, all public and private schools in Kano State were closed down. A step to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and ensure every child is safe. Although the session is not yet over, but steps taken by Kano State government in ensuring students are receiving lessons from home through the radio, experts say, is a welcome development.
Similarities between gravitational and magnetic field. All right.
You want to know more about the similarities between gravitational and magnetic fields? Well, if you were together with us, hearing from what the students are, the questions coming from students shows much that they are very much ready and they are around their radio and they are happy.
Fatima Abubakar, a student from Kano Model Secondary School, says she has been following the program when covered most part of the school curriculum.
They are picking by the subject and the topics that the teachers are teaching us. I hope that the lesson should continue because we are getting it very well.
We are at home, but we learn many things.
I assure you that this program will last, will continue until the end of this situation.
For the likes of Fatima Abubakar and hundreds of other students, they said, the exercise is worth the while. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
The continuous closure of schools and ban on religious activities to avert the spread of COVID-19 is not only affecting students and worshippers, but also those whose business concerns survive on the activities of these institutions. Printers say COVID-19 has grounded their business activities. Imo Itimodo reports.
In order to avert its spread, government has maintained ban on social gatherings, which also affect schools. This has brought direct negative impact on those cluster business operations that fed from activities of schools, churches, and other social programs. The worst hit are printers and publishers who say COVID-19 has put them out of business.
This business, especially paper, students, schools use it so much.
Any ceremony. So shutting down here is affecting us here.
Printers are jobless. No publication, no textbook from the university. We are just helpless like that.
Coupled with the school, there's no school. So there is no much printing because of that.
We come like this since morning, we've not worked.
They appeal for corporate, government, and individual assistance for their survival.
Assistance to us by reporting to the government that we are looking at help in order for us to be having something to be done.
It's very hard for us to survive on this kind of condition.
The answer to their prayer can only come by way of reopening of the economy, which is totally dependent on how soon COVID-19 will be defeated. In Uyo, Imo Etimodo, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. Let's now join Obey in Benin for more reports.
Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you again for joining us in Benin. Renovation work is ongoing at the 300-bed Stella Obasanjo Hospital, which will now only function as an isolation center for COVID-19 cases. Governor Godwin Obaseki, while inspecting the facility, assures that it will be ready for use in a few days' time. Good luck, Inaini reports.
Renovation at this facility commenced with the largest section of the hospital with 300 bed space a few weeks ago. On completion, the center will host patients in 4 categories, including critical cases, VIPs, VVIP. Laboratory services is also well captured. At the time the governor and some government officials arrived for the inspection, workers and the various sections of the facility were putting finishing touches. The governor is satisfied with the level of work done.
It's going to be very, very comfortable so that people won't have to be worried or concerned when they say they are going to have to be in isolation for a while just to make sure that the virus clears. So for me, I would say that the progress that we have made makes me truly, truly proud.
Professor of Microbiology A member of National Committee for the Control of Lassa Fever, Dennis Abolahon, gave an assessment of the facility.
With the maybe post-COVID, we will not have reason to go and spend billions of naira outside Nigeria anymore with this on ground.
The state government is to take delivery of the facility next week. In Benin, good luck in Naini. NT News.
Residents of Benin Metropolis are advised to avail themselves of the opportunity provided by the state government to go for regular screening on COVID-19 as a way to stop further spread of the virus. Ifeoma Okafor also has reactions to the recent discharge of 20 COVID-19 patients in Edo State.
This is Joan Onyogo and her counterparts, Ogbide Agatokitola. They are workers at the COVID-19 screening centers in Benin Metropolis. They are appealing for passersby to go on and get screened. While some refuse to be screened, some still obliged, just like these ones here. According to the workers at the screening centers NTA crew visited, getting people to be screened for COVID-19 is not an easy one.
We have to practically work out to meet them, plead with them on the need to do this test.
Okay, we don't have fixed number. Sometimes we get up to about 60, 50, sometimes 40. We also have people out there, teams, who go out there to sanitize them about the screening.
Meanwhile, residents have reacted to the 20 patients discharged recently from various isolation centers across the state who tested negative to COVID-19.
It shows that the governor and all stakeholders are committed to fighting this COVID-19. It's also a way to assure the people that, yes, there is solution.
That's a big news for us here, and it's a good one.
The 20 patients that were discharged brought the total number of discharged to 34. People are therefore advised to continue to adhere to the government's directive in order to curb further spread of the virus. In Benin, Ifeoma Okafor, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Elizabeth, it's over to you now for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Obey. Sports, when we return after this break, stay with us.
Number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
As a strong immune system increases the chances of victims surviving COVID-19, a corruption-free society creates opportunities for citizens to thrive and prosper. Build your immunity. Stop corruption now. Report all acts of corruption to ICPC on this toll-free number 0800 2255 4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
Now believe this Koroti. You know if you touch black man. If you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make the cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200. Take your change now. You know what your change is?
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. May una wash una hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so e no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere. No walk around, make the virus for die. No forget, say, the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
I'm Taiwo and I'm Kenya. We live here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We've lived here for 15 years. Yeah, and we're here to dedicate this video to my cousin. My dear cousin who lost his life due to coronavirus. His name was Baba Femi Adebayo Femi. Was a good guy. And he was in left behind his wife and two little kids, 2 children. He was in the ventilator for 12 days and he died. Anyways, we are here to alert everybody, both in Nigeria and diaspora, to please stay safe. It's not enough to say stay safe. Maintain the social distancing, because it's easy to just get into the routine and say that other person also had coronavirus. If I get it, I'm young and strong and I'll be fine. But it's not about us being just young and strong. You know, here in Brazil, we've blamed the president, blamed everybody, but the responsibility still lies on us. Please, if you can, if you have to go outside, maintain the social distancing. Wash your hands all the time. Use your face mask. Use gloves if you can. And once you come inside, you return home, just try as much as possible to disinfect yourself at all times, because it's real. It's real. People don't have to die before we value lives. Yeah, and we don't have to also lose our loved ones. If we can tell everybody, if we can inform everybody you know, to please stay safe, stay at home. We don't have to die. My cousin is gone now. I wish I could bring him back. I'm inconsolable. My heart is broken. But please, if you can, stay safe. Stay safe. Please remain at home if you can.
Thanks for joining us. We apologize. Sports update will come in our subsequent bulletin. We now join our outside broadcast crew for the Lagos State briefing on COVID-19.
Rulers, first-class rulers, second, all of them. We've had extensive conversations